Hello, welcome. Another video on a Kona Hahanna. I got this like a month ago because it was really cheap, and when a bike's really cheap and it's a Kona, you got to grab it. The colour's really nice and fancy, attractive, and it makes a good base for a build. The paint is a little bit damaged, especially here. Someone had actually put a seat post that was too small and they clamped it really tightly. To change things up a little bit, we're going to put some drop bars on the frame. I'm going to use mostly parts that I've already got, so I can do a bit of a clear out. And so the aim of the build is to make a kind of like, let's say, a commuter bike. Some would call it a gravel bike, cyclocross bike, whatever. Something a little bit different though than what I usually do with these old MTBs. This is the drop bar that I'm going to use. I managed to find some really cheap brifters. They're RCX 3x7. It would have been cooler to have something a little bit more higher up in gear range, so maybe a 2.2x9. But these are relatively expensive. In fact, these ones were broken. I managed to fix them. And at least we can use some older wheels to go together. I wanted to order some Billy Bonkers tires, but some people were so cheap it's very hard to sell a bike at a certain price here, so I'm going to use these older tires. They look kind of rolly. These are Maxxis Crossmarks, and I think the other ones I've got is some Gear Geeks Mezcar. I like the fact that they're both got yellow lettering, and so it kind of goes well together. I guess that's alright. Since we're using those brifters, the older ones, we're going to need to use some center pull brakes, so these canty brakes. These are LM550s. I think they'll look quite nice, at least aesthetically. And we've got some Guidoline and a new chain to put on as well. So we just now need to do a bit of cleaning, and all that's left is getting a seat post. I'm waiting for that, and normally we've got nearly everything to get started. We're going to get rid of that the old sticker on the rear stays. They're well, it's finished. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find anything locally to replace that. Since there were no places to buy a chain protector locally, I just used some old inner tubing. And I finished the end parts with some bar tape. And whilst doing that, I was just thinking, why not just cover the whole thing, and then that way it looks kind of nice and new. I think we're going to be repurposing these STX cranks, which are super similar, if not the same, as the RSX ones. Admittedly, that red is quite unsightly. I found another red. Hopefully this one matches the original paint a little bit better. I love when you put linseed oil on the paint. It just seems to brighten it all up again. If you'd noticed at the beginning, the lettering had a lot of cracks in the black, and it looks like putting a paint restorer and some linseed oil kind of has made it invisible now. So now we're going to put these BRM550s. If you look very closely, they're extremely similar to the Cyclocross canty brakes that Shimano later released, I think in 2011. Oh yeah, now I remember, the CX 70s, I believe. So although they updated them a bit, they really have the same morphology. Normally you're supposed to put brake blocks that are similar to the ones used on road bikes, but I've got these V-brake ones and they actually fit on here. and they work. That's what I like about these canty brakes compared to the ones that they released later. They're much more solid. Ended up having to install a new starter. Really need to get the tool for that, make it life easier. And that's the end of the painting. So you'll see it's a slightly lighter than the frame color. Maybe I'll add some varnish or some linen oil. It might darken it up. And I've put this type of style hanger. It works really well. Due to the frame being a little bit larger towards here, I couldn't use this LX derailleur. And since I need a top pull one, I've had to end up using this Altus one, which is a little bit chunkier and aesthetically ugly. I wanted a black derailleur. I was going to put an SLX derailleur, but since the cogs here at the back are not very large, I didn't see the need, so I'm just going to use this old LX derailleur. Looks like it's roughly about here, so I'll take this one off. After testing out the bike, I came to the conclusion that this was the best position, at least for me. It gives you free hand positions, and I realised obviously that this handlebar is not made for gravel biking. Typically gravel bikes will have less drop and a bit more flare, but I'd say specifically less drop, and kind of keeps you in a more upright position. I think this handlebar was 420 centimeters in length. So after a little bit of research, it looks like gravel handlebars are that length, so that's fine. But yeah, the drop and obviously the lack of flare on this one kind of takes away the characteristic of it being a kind of a gravel bike, I guess. Whether this is a gravel bike or not, I'm pretty happy with whatever it is that I did make. Mostly spare parts, and I think someone's going to enjoy their bike. I like it anyway, and I can't wait until I get onto another one like this actually, and get some gravel handlebars. Finally, the 27 diameter seat post arrived. Someone had sent me a 27.2 and they'd advertised it as a 27. So it's so hot today. I don't feel like going on an actual path. I tried it the other day and it worked out fine. Very, very happy with this build, actually. Probably one of the best builds I've done for a while now. As mentioned, I feel like the handlebars didn't have such a big drop. It would be very much more comfortable. And these cantilevers are just lovely. You get that progressive braking. And you brake really quickly there if you want to. So really happy with this bike. I think whoever's going to buy this off me is going to really enjoy it. It's baking hot outside, so I'm going to make this real quick. I'm going to replace the pedals as well. They're just for testing out. I'm going to put new ones on. The problem when you're losing your hair is you risk head burns. So I think that's everything, and I'm very happy with the build. And I'm looking forward to doing a few more actually. But this was a nice tester. So anyway, thank you for listening, and peace out.